Welcome to the Private Practice Startup, where we inspire you from startup to mastery. We chat with entrepreneurs, experts in the mental health and business arenas, and successful private practitioners to give you the tools needed to make your dream practice a reality. Visit theprivatepracticestartup.com for awesome resources, free trainings, and so much more. Here are your hosts, Dr. Kate Campbell and Katie Lemieux. Hello, Startup Nation. We are back again for another amazing episode of the Private Practice Startup Podcast. Katie made a face when I said amazing.
No, I just clicked my pen and I was like, oh my goodness, they're going to hear that. So I was like, uh-oh.
I was like, are you doubting the amazingness of our podcast?
Not at all. What's up, everybody? How are you guys doing today?
So we're excited to have you here, and we had a great show last week. Last week, we interviewed Katie May, and she talked about the 5 ways to market groups in your private practice. She is the group guru, and that was a really fun show. So if you guys haven't checked that out yet, make sure you listen to that. We offered tons of practice building, value bombs, and ninja tips as usual. And we are especially excited about today's show. We have Amy Lasseter. She's here from Holistic Counseling she's in Athens, Georgia, which is outside of Atlanta. And she's going to be talking about the 4 steps to shift your mindset and create clarity. And before we get started on all of that, we just wanted to thank you guys for being a part of Startup Nation. We really love you and love connecting with you and all the different ways that we do. If you're a first-time listener, we've got a special gift for you. Make sure you download our A to Z cheat sheet, the essentials for building your dream private practice. You can find that at the privatepracticestartup.com website. Head over to the resources tab, and there you'll find all of our goodies. You'll see it under there. And then also definitely join us on our Facebook group. Find us at the Private Practice Startup Facebook group, where we have all of our podcast guest experts and a really thriving community of people all over the world who are in private practice. And so definitely connect with us there. So let's go ahead and get started with our topic today. So Amy, tell us what led you into the business that you're in now.
About 2 years ago, my practice essentially went from a solo practice to 6 clinicians in about a 9 to 11 month span. So it grew very quickly and just kind of exploded. And in that time, I got stuck professionally and personally. And I ended up, just being stuck there for about 6 months and just kind of frustrated with things not moving the way that I wanted. And of course, like any good therapist, we all know that when you get stuck, you start going back to therapy. And so that's what I did. And while I'm really glad that I went, and I certainly had some things that I needed to work on, during that time, I realized it wasn't really quite what I needed. It was off the mark just a little bit, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it. And then I decided, you know what, I'll try business coaching, because why not, right? The worst thing that happens is that I learn that it's not what I need either. And I'll just keep going and I'll keep searching for the right thing. But it turned out that getting a business coach was exactly what I needed. And so over the last 18 months or so, a little less actually, I've worked with 2 different coaches. And during that time, I just realized that there was more that I could do to continue to support great therapists by keeping them in the field and not getting into that burnout state, and helping them come back into the field because they left because of burnout or, parenthood or just life. And so here I am, offering consulting services through Holistic Consulting and helping people with mindset.
That's great. And I forgot to share with our audience a few fun things about you. So I want to do that now. So I'll take a moment to back up. And I love and I'm surprised that you said, when you were stuck in that place that you went to therapy, I thought you were just going to drink some coffee and eat some chocolate chip cookie dough.
Well, I did that too.
Because I see here you said that solves any problem. And I think that's a great way to solve problems. I think then you'll have another problem, right? You'll have like something around an inner tube around your waist, and then we get another problem. But I love coffee. I love coffee. There's actually this new, Kate's on to cold brew now. And I've been on to cold brew for a little bit.
It's an obsession.
But there's like this Japanese style cold brew where you actually put like ice cubes in your coffee pot, and then you brew the coffee and it drips. And as it's dripping, it automatically like makes it cold. Super cool. Anyway.
And all I've been doing is pouring coffee over my ice cubes on my coffee cup.
See, you got to try this because it doesn't melt the ice and it actually stays strong and it locks in the aromas and all that good stuff.
I found this coconut cold brew from Trader Joe's, and I'm telling you, it is so good. I mix it with my coconut milk, and it tastes like I'm drinking an Almond Joy. It's so delicious. I'm drinking it now as we speak.
Nice. Good for you. It's funny you say Trader Joe's because actually I was going to go over, head over there.
I love TJ's. Yes.
Yeah.
There's not one close enough to me. So just a few more fun facts about Amy, everybody, is she's a clarity seeker mentor. She's a loving caller outer, which I love you for that. That's very much one of the things that I do. And she identifies herself as a comfortable 18-hour support bra that you can have for yourself and your practice. I kind of like that. It's long-lasting. It works. It's great. And outwardly claims to be a Hufflepuff, but actually thinks she would be sorted into the Ravenclaw house. So that, I guess, is all for the Harry Potter fans.
Yeah, we are big Harry Potter fans in my house. And we were on vacation on the way down to Florida, actually. And we were talking about it. I was like, you know what? I think I might really be a Ravenclaw. And they were like, what?
That's funny. So let's shift back into, I know we kind of got off track because we did things out of order, but hey, we're just rolling with it. So let's shift back into your interview and share with our audience something that you've had to overcome really to be where you are today in business.
Probably the biggest thing that I had to overcome had a lot to do with mindset, particularly when it came to money and how much I related it to my self-value and my self-worth. In starting at the end of 2016, I was working with my coach, and I had to simplify my business, but the best way for me to do that was to stop taking insurance. Because the back end of everything was just taking me so long and such an energy suck and headspace suck for me, that I switched to cash fee in January. And I got totally honest. I wrestled with dropping insurance for probably about 6 months. I felt selfish. I felt like I didn't care. What would the community say about me? I was letting people down. What would people do? And not to say that I'm the only therapist out there, but as helpers and healers and people who want to support, it feels like we're taking a tool away. I was hearing grumbling in my own community. I was getting grumbly from my personal inner circle about it, about dropping insurance. And my coach was really challenging me to push this because she knew it's what I needed. And she was working just as hard as I was to hold me accountable. So finally, I came to terms with it. And I'll just totally honest. I cried off and on for probably about 3 days, trying to silence and come to terms with the voices of not enough and too much. And I reached out to 3 of the professionals in my community who are also my friends for support and permission, because I was having so much inner judgment on myself. It was hard for me to envision the community not judging me as well. And they really supported me and cheered me on. And honestly, it was the best decision I ever made.
I know you have a great topic today, and I almost feel like what you just shared there, and you shared completely vulnerably and totally authentically. Cowbell ring, that's our key word here on the private practice. And I think that so many therapists struggle with that, and really appreciate you just sharing that with our audience. I know that's such a tough place, and it's a safety blanket. And obviously you had other things going on in your mind about the community and people and letting people down and all those other things. So thank you for sharing that.
And it's the perfect segue into our topic here today.
Exactly. So why don't we jump over that way, Amy? So let's talk about the 4 steps to shift your mindset and create clarity. So what's number 1?
Number 1 is really getting to understand what's behind your why. So often I think that, when you start working with therapists and, coaches and consulting and all of that stuff, they can say, you ask them, well, why are you doing this? And they can absolutely tell you. I'm doing this because I want to serve, I want to help, and all of that other stuff. But I think the other thing that you really need to look at is understanding what's behind your why. And what's behind your why is always your values. And so you've got to get really clear on knowing what is important to you. I can't tell you the number of times I've had somebody, I'm working with somebody and I say, okay, we're going to sit down with your values list to start. And they're kind of like, well, why are we starting there? I'm like, let's just see. And so we start going through our values list, and they're like, oh, I didn't even realize that was there. I'm like, yeah, it is there. And so we need to really acknowledge and sit with this and look at it and see how is it supporting your why? Does it need to shift your why and why we're doing what we're doing and what it is that we're hoping to get out of it? So one of the first things that I really like to start talking to people about is knowing what's behind your why.
It's funny you say that, because as you talk, you almost do coaching the very same way we do. I mean, I'm sure there's many differences, but that's where we start. And we actually have our coachees fill out a brand values assessment, and that's really for their own values. And then we have a goal planning sheet, and we go right into assignments the next, start with why. We really look at that. And I can't tell you how many times therapists say, well, my why is to make a difference or a change. I go, but it's got to be deeper than that. That's kind of generic. That's what everybody says. Like, there's something else. So I love that you say that. That's really cool.
Well, I'm really glad to know that there are other people out there who are talking about it, because I think it's so valuable. And what I've discovered is that, when we get stuck in our businesses, that, something's going on a deeper level. And so it's just kind of going back and revisiting that foundation to make sure that our why and our values are still aligned. Because so often, we go through those big life shifts and we forget to pause afterwards, and to check back in to say, is this still the right pursuit? Is this still the right avenue for me? Do I need to shift a little bit more? So I think it's just really important that we pause and look at it. And I'm just thankful that there's somebody else out there who's talking about it and helping people with that.
Yeah, thank you. And I think it is so important. I think the other key thing that you talked about is permission. So, our trajectory in life might go one way, and especially as therapists, is we've invested a lot of time and energy and money in school. And to sometimes think like, well, maybe I don't want to do therapy anymore. Maybe I want to be just a business consultant, or maybe I actually don't even want to be in the field anymore. And that's okay, guys. That's completely okay. And the why will change over time, and it can, or you might have a life where you're just specific to one path, and either is perfect.
There's a saying that I want to share with you guys. Michelle Villalobos, she's a brand strategist who is just awesome. We love her work and just really believe in what she's up to. And we did a podcast with her. I believe it's probably around number 8, 9, somewhere around there.
13.
I don't know off the top of my head, somewhere around there. Anyways, look for her name, Michelle Villalobos. We'll include it in the show notes. But she has a saying where your uh-oh moments lead to your greatest aha moments. And so when you go, uh-oh, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so stuck, or I'm lost, or I don't want to do this anymore, or what is going on? And just feeling like you're in that place. If you do that work and you go deeper and you get more clarity, then you find your greatest aha moment. So I thought that was really powerful and definitely connects to what we're talking about.
Yeah, I was actually talking to somebody about it the other day, because I was just like, man, if I get really honest, a lot of what I do is not just the consulting, but it's a lot of mindset work too. And I don't know, it's hard for me to imagine any therapist who hasn't run into, or I should say, or any consultant for that matter, is that coaching can often be a dirty word in our field. And I was just like, well, what does that mean? What does that look like for me? And somebody said to me, they're like, your calling is always the same. If your job title shifts, it shifts, but what you're still doing and how you do that work, it's still doing what it is that you're supposed to be doing. It's just a title shift and how.
I'm ready with my cowbell for your tip number 2. So let's jump right into that.
Okay. And that goes into, and for me, that goes all into authentic mentorship. Because when you're doing, anytime we're making a shift, anytime we're digging deep, we're doing really scary things. And it's really great, I think, to have somebody who's gone before you. And that's when you get into that really authentic mentorship, somebody who's going to be like lovingly call you out and say, I know you said that, but you've got conflicting things going on. You said this and you're trying to hold this at the same time. You're going to have to put one down. Sharing their experiences because they're a few steps ahead of you. And I just think that authentic mentorship is priceless. It is absolutely priceless.
Agreed.
And in authentic, in that authentic mentorship, they're also great leaders. They're honest with you and they're absolutely nurturing you and absolutely in your corner, cheering you on. and just supporting you the entire way. And so for me, that's what you need. You need authentic mentorship.
For sure. And it's great too. I just recently created a mastermind group with several people, and it's just been awesome, which actually kind of leads into your step 3. So why don't you share step 3?
Step 3 is all about execution and accountability. Again, it goes back to, it is terrifying, or at least it was terrifying for me, to do some of those really big, scary shifts and taking some of those big steps. And so I needed an authentic leader who was going to hold me accountable. And that when I started balking at doing what I said I was going to do, she's there saying, Amy, this is what you said. Like, you need to start doing some digging because you're balking and you're hesitating and you're only hurting yourself. And so having that execution and accountability there as well has been absolutely priceless.
And, we're more likely to do something for someone else or because we told someone else than do it for ourselves if we keep it quiet. And that's really what my mastermind group does. Like, I know I have a task this week and I haven't finished it, and our group meets on Monday at 9:30, but I know I'm going to finish it because they're going to ask me about it. And that's so important. And the other thing too, when you say about execution, I know a lot of people say, oh, knowledge is power. And I'm like, not really. Knowledge is potential power, but without execution or action, it's just there. It's potentiality.
It's a wish.
It is a wish. It is a wish. So having an accountability partner or group to really help you execute on really who you are. You know what I mean? I mean, their job is to help you really shine in the world. So that's super essential.
The thing I want to say too, like adding to what you said, is that, you are more likely to do it for somebody else. And I think that also ties into that self-worth and that self-value. Is because you're like, I'm not sure I can do it. Should I do it for me? I don't know. And it's just like, and once you take that step, you're like, oh my gosh, that does feel really good.
Yeah, it does.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Let's take a moment to review your tips. Number 1 is know what's behind your why. Number 2, authentic mentorship. Number 3, accountability and execution.
And before we get to tip number 4, why don't we just take a quick break for our sponsor? You know you can help a couple through a rough patch, and you know that you can help that rebellious teenager see his own worth. You are the right person for the job. The only problem? That rebellious teenager and struggling couple, they just don't know that you're the perfect person for the job. In fact, they don't even know you exist. Why? Because you aren't getting in front of your ideal clients. Your web presence or lack thereof is hindering your ability to work with the people that you know you can help. You deserve to be found by your ideal client, and your ideal client deserves to find you.
Brighter Vision is the trusted solution by thousands of therapists worldwide, helping therapists connect with their ideal clients. For only $59 a month, you get a uniquely designed website, unlimited tech support, and complimentary SEO. And that's not all. Brighter Vision has a ton of free resources to help you along your private practice journey, such as their free webinars, podcasts, and practice building tools. Do yourself and your ideal clients a favor. Get seen and sign up for Brighter Vision today. Visit brightervision.com/try, TRY/startup, STARTUP, to get your first month for free.
We've been partnering with Perry and his team at Brighter Vision for a while now, and we've really enjoyed our interactions with them. They share the same vision as us, helping you fulfill your dream private practice. They're responsive, easy to work with, and create beautifully designed websites. So what is the last and final tip of your shift your mindset and create clarity, Amy?
It's actually doing the mindset work, because like for me, it's so circular, because you can have the greatest ideas in the world, and if you're not executing, it's because there are some limiting beliefs or some deeply held values that you have to work through. You've got to work through it, and you've got to push it. And that's why that accountability piece is so important.
Can you give us just a little flavor of how you help people do mindset work?
So a lot of times what I'll do is just, pointing out okay, so here's one of the things that happens sometimes when I'm doing the value sheet at the very beginning. It's like, I really like control, and responsibility is incredibly important to me. I also really value freedom.
Right.
And it's like, you're tying your own hands.
Right.
You're tying your own hands, and you are going to have to put one down at some point in time. And that is when it kind of gets into that, like, so what are you going to do? How is holding on to responsibility going to lead you to the path that, we originally started talking about? And how is, if we put freedom first, what do you have to give up? What do you have to leave behind? Because now we're talking about the potential of leaving maybe part of our identity behind. We're talking about maybe having to shut down our company because it's not serving us in the way. And now we have to kind of sit and process that kind of stuff and really kind of move through of saying, I've got to come to terms with that, because that's also part of being a good leader, is understanding what to take and what to leave. And sometimes that means that we have to grieve some things for ourselves and for who we are. And sometimes that means we have to leave people behind who don't necessarily want to come with us.
For sure. And I definitely talk to clients about that in our sessions and things like that. But it's so true in business. And, sometimes through the path of business, and I know Kate and I had a place where we stepped back with our business recently. And like with Kate's quote that she was sharing, it was very clear, like when we stepped back and took 2 to 3 weeks and just really did the minimal work, it got really clear of what we're supposed to be doing. And we kind of recreated a new niche in the private practice world, one that we feel ecstatic about, and is really going to help people in the way that they need to be helped. So it's so essential, and sometimes it's okay. And we've had to let many things go, and just, it's okay. And it feels, I love decluttering. I mean, if there's any way for me to relieve my stress, and I will declutter someone else's house, but that's just a great way for me to create peace. And it feels good to do that with your business as well.
Yeah. Last year, what I did is there was so much stuff inside the business, I couldn't see anything anymore. And so what I essentially did is I was like, okay, my business is a house, and I am taking every single freaking piece out, and I'm setting it on the floor, and I'm just going to look at the framework. What do I like? What don't I like? And then I'm going to look at the pieces of furniture, and then I'm going to decide what was serving me, what wasn't serving me, and is there a way that I can shift it so that it can serve me better, or is it something I have to leave behind?
Awesome.
Feels so liberating as you say that.
Yeah. Well, and I think so often too, like what we need is we need permission. Like, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to not know. It's okay to screw up, and it's okay to make mistakes, and it's okay to rock and be awesome.
Amen to that one.
Yes. And on that note, Amy, what do you want to make sure our listeners take away from your message today?
So one of the things that I absolutely would love for people to hear and to take away is that it is okay to ask for support, and it is absolutely essential in my opinion, right? Let's qualify that. In my opinion, that you really get an extra set of eyes and ears on your business and the choices that you're making. Because whether that's through therapy, coaching, whatever calls to, you're going to have to do some shifting internally in that framework to make sure that you are executing and taking actions that are going to lead you to where you want to go. And it is so damn hard. Can I say damn? Sorry.
Yes, you can.
Of course. Damn's not a swear word.
It's so damn hard when you're trying to do it all on your own. And the extra pair of eyes and ears are going to help you see things that you don't. And that's another thing that I talk about all the time. I'm like, your greatest strength is your greatest weakness. It's going to create a blind spot for you. And you need somebody who can sit in that blind spot for you and tap you on the shoulder and be like, whoa, I see what you're doing here, like it, but you're missing the point back here.
That's so funny. There's a lot of similarities and overlap between like our beliefs and how we go about things. I say that to people all the time about how your greatest strength is your greatest limitation. Yeah, and it does create those blind spots.
I always get so disappointed because we connect with so many awesome private practitioners who are so cool. And I wish we just all lived closer so we could get together and just like hang out and do, like converge all the energy and do all this awesome, great work. Cool? That would be so cool.
Yeah, we do it virtually, but it'd be really cool to actually do it in person.
I sense an event planning session coming up.
All right.
Awesome.
We'll be waiting.
Well, Amy, we could seriously talk to you all day long, and we wish we could, but we can't for the podcast. So I just need to start to wrap things up a little bit. So what is the book or the resource that you want to share with our audience on this topic about mindset?
So one of the things that I wanted to share about mindset is, so there's 2 books out there that I really love. So I'll try to make this short because we got to wrap up. If you are struggling like with money mindset and things like that, The Art of Money by Barry Tesler is an awesome resource. She's got lots of tips and tools and things to use for people who are struggling around that issue. And the other one that I absolutely love, I think it's a great book. It's called The Servant Leadership Training Course by John C. Maxwell. It does talk about Christianity in it. So if you're not really comfortable with that, this is not the book for you. But what I love about this book is it encourages leadership by role modeling, and it will really help you get clear on the type of leader that you want to be and that you want to continue to work on and become. Because I think that's really critical if you're a therapist and working with clients, or if you're a group therapy practice owner and leader, is that, like it or not, people are watching you and you're role modeling for them.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing those resources. And we know you have a giveaway for our audience as well. What is that?
So the giveaway for the audience is Stop Spinning Your Wheels and Unleash Your CEO Mindset. This is a workbook that I created that will help you replace those spinning wheels with clarity by giving you 3 unique insights into what is going on with you and really help you start taking action like a leader and the CEO that you are. Because it's really hard to take action if you're not operating from the right foundation. So this helps solve that problem. And when you grab it, I'll actually share with you 2 more ways you are probably getting in your own way.
Awesome. Yes.
And how can people get that?
So they can, I hate saying this because, right, sometimes good enough is good enough. They can actually go to my website and grab it at amylasseter.com. I'm actually working, I'm in the process of working on a pretty nice Bitly link. But if you go to the blog post on the website that's titled Know What's Behind Your Why.
What we'll do, Amy, is we'll include the link on the show notes so people don't have to, follow the instructions. It'll just be easy breezy for them to get. And that way they can access it with one simple click. Yes. So thank you so much for being on the podcast. It's been great today.
I really appreciate you all having me. And it's always a joy to listen to you all and share with you all. And I really appreciate everything you do for therapists and consultants in the community. So just thank you.
Right back at you, girl. Awesome. So we'll definitely stay connected, and we'll look forward to connecting with you in our Startup Nation Facebook community as well. So Startup Nation, you'll want to make sure that you tune in for next week's podcast. We have John Clark from the Private Practice Workshop. He's going to be talking about how to get more done in less time.
Yay.
Yes, in private practice. So that's obviously a very important topic. So make sure you check out our show notes today for all the tips, resources, and giveaways from today's show. And as always, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review to share with your friends and fellow colleagues. We always appreciate it when you share the love. And we hope you guys have an awesome, inspired day. See you next time.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on The Private Practice Startup. Visit theprivatepracticestartup.com for awesome resources, free trainings, attorney-approved private practice paperwork, and so much more.